I got kicked out.
No, you
Yeah, I
just
saw you did at the last second and came right back in and stuff
yeah.
like that. So back in live. What's up? What's up? Everybody joining in as we start to kick off another
What
real
up?
talk discussion.
We just here, y'all. Yeah.
Want to see
Uh,
something? Want to try something real quick?
what you gonna try? Because that's gonna mean audio and visual issues.
Try to log in from a different way, man.
Oh shoot! Is that a? I mean, y'all. Oh, because you been getting kicked out the way you logging in right now. Oh, I see. You trying to go off the computer. All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to go for this instead of the phone, man, because the phone gives me it limits like how easily I can see the stuff, you know.
Hmm.
Got you. Got you.
You been all right?
What's going on? Yeah, yeah. For the most part.
Yeah, I know.
For the most
How
part.
you feel, Mike?
Oh shoot. I'm doing okay. All right. I got caught by the bug last week. So feeling recuperating, which I guess a lot of people have been I guess still been going around and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
what y'all been hearing? Like you been hearing how frequently you been hearing people getting still come up with COVID stuff
All
like
right.
that.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they saying the numbers is going back up, but I mean, you know, for the most part, I haven't heard where nobody. Yo, actually, the only person I heard talk about how sick they was actually AZ because I followed him on Instagram and he was saying that his joint was hurt. He was saying he was hurt for like 2 weeks.
Wait, you said somebody we know? Or who'd you say?
AZ, the rapper, AZ.
Oh,
Yeah, I follow him on Instagram. Hold on, 1 second.
He gonna try to transition it. Yeah, I just spoke with somebody else today who like it was a somebody I work with, but it was like another family member. They said this person was like they were having real bad symptoms, although like there's this lighter version going around, but I think the person is like pregnant or something like that now at the same time. So they said they were having like that's got to be crazy having going through pregnancy and COVID and stuff at the same time. But yeah, but yeah, I mean it's still going.
Hold
Thank goodness like the most recent version or whatever or variant rather. That's crazy. Oh wait, Charles logged in and then kicked himself.
He's having a moment. Are
All
we on
right.
Echoverse?
Say again.
Echoverse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we
you have to mute your log out of your.
on. Oh, that's me.
All right.
Which one you want to be on? You want to be on that
All
one?
right, we're gonna work on the technical difficulties with Z. As we get that right. Yours was good though. See, I mean, you had to come in with yours was fine. It just
This one?
All right, so how do I get the other one off?
Okay, how about this? Let's remove that. I can't remove it. You got to remove it. The other one.
Oh no, okay, it's removed from the stream. So now I'm gonna just log out on the other one, right?
yes,
Perfect.
sir.
Perfect. It'll work. Because right now you got the audio charge.
Yeah, technically this counts as an audio issue. So
Yeah, the same audio charge on it.
all you gotta do is log out.
I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Oh
We're going to do
shoot.
this while you do that. There you go. Take your time, buddy.
Wait, why don't you come out the stream until you get that? So it
The
ain't
other
like
one, just disconnect the other one.
well, yeah, he can stay. I mean, as long as you're muted, that's right. As long as you're muted, that's right. All right, so Dev, what's we going?
We in trouble, man.
We gonna let Z figure that
We
out.
in trouble. Let's see who's in the comments really quick. Okay.
We didn't get them nothing
Hold
to
on.
comment on. Or rather, like we'd ask them.
I know, but people are saying hello to us. They going hello. So we got Tempest, Janine, Kristen, Regine. Oh, that rhyme. Oh, you heard that one?
Oh, true. All right.
Kristen, Regine. I used to be a rapper. Don't tell me about it. I used to be a rapper. Yeah. I mean, everything's cool, man. It's just hot. It's hot as hell out here.
96 out there.
Nah, y'all got it worse than we do. New York, I'm hearing, is just going with it. You know. Hello, Natasha. Joaquin, what's going on? Yeah, I'm hearing you guys up there are burning up.
It was definitely approaching 100 today. So
Wow.
it wasn't. Came outside. It was like a sauna.
Wow.
I think it's supposed to. I think it says it's supposed to rain tomorrow, so I guess the temperature's gonna drop down or whatever. But what else? What else been going on? I don't know. Current news. Topics, life stuff.
Yeah. I haven't really been like on the news. Like when we first used to go live, I was a news head. Hello, Christina. But I don't know, man. I've been seeing some of the stuff going on. But you know what, Mike? Let me ask you something. Did you see the Sesame Street thingamajiggy? Did you see that?
Yeah. And
did
when I was I saw that.
Yeah, right?
Huh?
Did you see they had like this smorgasbord of all the different times, basically African American children was just like straight up just like dismissed. Like I couldn't believe it.
I was trying to even like I was trying to stay like what's the word? Whatever, like try to like look into the situation, see what's always going on. Because so much stuff that come across social media, or whatever. You're like, all right, did this happen or what happened with this? So you see the one incident, yeah, it definitely looks glaring. Like that he said hello to one, went around the other two girls, and was ignoring them. So the first thing I thought, I was like, all right, that looks like something racial, whatever. But I'm at the same time, I was like, it's a parade or whatever the hell it is. I mean, it must be 1,000, few thousand, several thousand people or whatever. I'm like, all right, whoever's in the costume, not gonna be able to say what's up to every kid. I mean, I don't know what happened. That was my first thought, but then you started seeing the other clips. It's like, he's dipping around another one, like, no, whatever. And for those who haven't seen, maybe give a little intro to what happened. Well, you want to give it or just tell us?
No, you can go ahead, man. You saw it too.
Nah, man, I don't know if it's any more.
Real quick, man.
I don't know where it was.
This is our quick topic, so we can.
It was at Sesame Place in Pennsylvania.
Hasn't connected with your phone. I'll keep trying.
Audio was crazy. It sounds like
his audio is super right now. It's
say something low again. Say something low, Z.
I said that it was at Sesame Place and hold on.
Yes.
It is. There you go. That might be worse now.
I'll take it from there. Wait till your volume's coming in like dumb loud, like it's like. So anyway, so what it was is like, so there was a video at some kids at Sesame Place, and there was I don't know what the Sesame. What the hell you call it?
Yeah, I don't even know where it was. I
don't know what you said. Charles said it was at Sesame Place.
It was at. Hold on. It was at Sesame Place. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it sounds crazy though. It sounds like your volume is on 20, like out of 10. It sounds like extra loud. But anyway.
Got you.
What do you call a character? What do you call the things like a Mickey Mouse that walk around? We're going from characters. What do you call a character? A person in the character outfit or whatever you call it. I don't know. So if anybody knows which thing it was, I don't know who it was, what it was. It was a big.
They knew the name of the thing, but they don't see the name of it behind.
Yeah, whoever knows the name of the thing, put that in. So
some character they have.
So there was just video of you see one of these big character guys in a suit walking around, and he's like, he's one of the ones that caters to the kids and says hello and shakes their hands and give them little hugs or whatever. And so you first see him, saying, giving high fiving or doing something to one kid. Then he goes around. There's two little black girls like racing up to him or trying to get a hug at him, and he's like, no, and he walks off. And I don't know if he goes and hugs another kid or gives another kid a high five or something.
We didn't even see it. They just like it was like a quick dap somewhere else, and he just kept it moving.
Yeah, so
or whoever was behind the costume, you know. And hello, Grace. Whoever was behind the costume.
Yeah, so if you're trying that, if you were looking at it like
trying to be objective,
you're like, all right, maybe he just had to keep on walking. He told the kids like, no, I can't do it now. But then somebody showed another video. It's like
six of them, yo.
Yeah, it was like other kids. Like every time it looked like there was a kid of color, whatever. He's like zipping around. I'm like, no, like dodging them, whatever. Like, and they showed us several of those. So,
did you see the one where I guess it was like the purple thingamajiggy, like came with the belly and knocked the baby down?
Nah, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that one? That was the one that was like automatic. Like, yeah, it would have been on site. If I had a stroller, I would have swung it at them.
Yo, I can't imagine.
Yeah, man.
Trying to like intentionally knock down babies and stuff like
that. Exactly. Hello, Michelle.
Exactly. Nobody knows what this damn character's name was. What the hell?
Whatever the hell it is.
It was one of them Sesame Street characters. What's his name? Grimace or one of them dudes? I don't even know all of the characters.
Grimace, man. Grimace.
All right, my bad.
Grimace is McDonald's or something.
Oh, my fault.
Yes. Grimace is McDonald's from like
Happy Meals,
the 80s or something.
Sesame Place to Happy Meals.
Yo, there's no Grimace on Sesame Street or Drought?
I don't think so. I'm not gonna say I know for sure, but
that's the name. Rosita. Yeah. Rosita is crazy. Is that politically correct to call something in a costume? Can we even say crazy these days?
Can we say what?
Crazy? Can we call something crazy?
Crazy?
Oh, yeah. Tepper said that was crazy. So
what? You mean like politically?
Everything is so politically correct. I don't know what I can say anymore. I don't know what I can say without offending somebody.
No, we can get away with crazy if something's crazy.
I know, isn't that crazy? That's some crazy.
It wasn't Oscar. It wasn't.
Your audio is on point now, man. I don't know what you did, but it's
you know, because I put it because it was echoing through the computer speaker, so I put it into my Bluetooth.
It's like you had a professional technician work on that or something.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I'm burning up, okay? It is hot. I feel like I'm going to sweat all the water out my body.
Let me ask you something. Where you at? Because nobody knows what you're doing. For the vehicle you're in, it has to stay off where you are? Because if you cut it on, how's that work?
Nah. I'm gonna cut it. Nah, I don't gotta stay off. I was just getting myself together in here, but no, I'm definitely gonna cut it on because I'm gonna die if I don't.
Yeah, cut it on, man. You don't want nothing, you know.
So what's up, Steven? Anybody else got anything?
What up?
This Rosita, I don't know if you call it a character. Sesame Street.
If you know anything about this Rosita, please put it in the comments. We're just trying to learn a little bit more about Rosita. You know?
And I don't know in the grand scheme of things, how important is it? I mean, I guess
it's important in this sense. If it was a one-time film, okay, whatever. But like King said, they trying to cover it up. When I saw those clips of all the different scenarios, it just can't make that up. You know?
Yeah.
Stop spending your money.
Think about it. Okay, here's playing the devil's advocate.
Hold on.
Oh, she said technically they're Muppets.
They're Muppets? Those are technically Muppets?
I bet you they're technically not McDonald's characters like Grimace, like Charles.
That made no sense a little while ago. He's right. Sesame Street, but not the Muppets versus the McNugget characters or whatever. What is Charles talking about?
I don't know. Maybe trying to jumpstart his cause.
I'm too displaced from my childhood in that light.
But check out this. What about? All right, so
This is devil's advocate point that you're going
Only
to
thing I'm comparing it to, like, think of like when you see kids or somebody standing outside, like a sports event, something like that, baseball players or basketball trying to get somebody like walk by. Like, what is it impossible to think that he just was like, yeah, I can only do with so many kids, like, and if
I gotta
take
care. Oh, sorry, I gotta take care of something real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
So if somebody followed this character or the Sesame Street dude throughout a whole parade, how many kids he gonna skip?
That's cool. But if you skipping, but you deliberately skipping, like you straight up just nah. I mean, to me, there's no excuse. I feel you on that. Quite sure.
I'm saying like objectively, like I'm sure
there's quite a few people of children he's probably or she missed. I get it. But this was straight up like old school diss. This is straight up like put your hand out and they just like, you know, straight up like, shh. And even through the like, nah, like the, and then tried to have some excuse saying that they were saying something to another parent that was trying to offer a child to get like a hug. Nah, dude, straight up said no to them and hugged up. Stop spending your money with them for a little bit. For all you parents with young children, stop spending that money for a little bit. That's crazy, man. That's crazy, man. I don't know. What you think about 76 million Americans under a heat wave, though? What you think about that?
Like global warming stuff and everything.
Yeah. You see what's going on over there? Did you see what's going on in like Greece and Spain and the fires and Italy? And
you know what I realized? Oh wait, somebody just made a comment. Make sure I don't skip over this. And you said talking about the heat. Says
I'm gonna put this up. Let's read it. You want me to read it or you got it?
Yeah, you got it.
I apologize ahead of time. The one that walked up, and this is by Dottie, the one that walked up on the little baby and hit her with his belly would have got that ass truffle. Rosita would have got cussed in front of my babies, and she would have had to high five my kids. Both situations were horrible. Now, if you all get a chance, try to pull it up. I mean, if I can find it real quick. If you, to Dottie's point, when that purple thing with the belly knocked that baby down, oh man, I was like, nah. Yeah. And if you wouldn't protect your child on that level, I feel you, because not everybody's gonna, go haywire with their babies. But that was like literally a baby, like it was a little baby. And this
now that one I didn't see. It looked like it just was done deliberately, like it just.
No, he was just like boom, knocked the baby into the. We couldn't see what the parent was. Just knocked the baby down. But I was like, what? Yeah, that would have been a problem. Just like Dottie said, that would have been a problem. What did Steve say? About the video. Yes, this is definitely about the video. With the Muppets, as we're finding out, there's some form of a Muppet that was sort of egging the little black, brown, melanated children to straight up like whatever, So
yeah. You know what I don't even know if this is. I don't know if this is gonna come out politically incorrect or something like that. But I always think about saying I'm like kids are not all kids, but a lot of kids are always scared about those when you go to music park. Like kids are used to seeing these characters or Muppets on TV, so they see them and they just like a few inches big or whatever. And then they go to a park, they see there's some like 6-foot man, running around in costume. I always figure that they should always have real short. I don't even know. I'm not even gonna say this. People under a certain height. I'm trying to think of how to say that.
Politically correct. Where are we going here? Everything's politically correct.
I think I was thinking it would make sense to have really shorter people in those costumes, because then they wouldn't see the kids or something like they wouldn't be like 6 foot tall or something.
Then they're gonna be like Oompa Loompas.
Huh?
And that might scare the children too. They'd be like, "Oh, if they too short."
Yeah, but I think kids would deal with that better because you expect them to be about that big. I think you don't expect them to be like see Mickey Mouse be like 7 feet tall or something like that.
I feel you on that, and I guess that could go either way. You know, you know, I mean, you ever been to Disney? You ever been down to Disney World? Disney World? Whatever.
Yo, like I think like once.
Once? Yeah, those characters be huge. They be way up there with all that stuff on. But you know, children they get their little dance on and everything, and they go to give high fives and you're supposed to high five back, but you knocking people's babies over.
Shit.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
You know, so man, I guess it's crazy that that's like one of the main. Well, I don't say main news topics. It's more like a social media topic. But who was it? Was it Kelly? Was it Kelly Rowland or somebody who put that thing out first or brought attention to it?
Yeah, I mean, she was one of the ones. I think so. I saw a few celebrities sharing it, and that's what Leo, what's going on? That's what made me sort of because I kept seeing it, but I didn't click it. And eventually, I clicked it and was like, wow. But then when I saw all of the different videos together, that's what really bugged me out.
I think it's been the case. It's probably the same. I think this is what you were saying a little while ago. I know it's been the case for me too. Like, I don't know if it's intentionally or just for the lack of like any good news, but I've definitely been avoiding like paying attention to, watching. I guess whatever news and stuff that I'm paying attention to now is like you said, it want to be on social media stuff or just like whatever news pops up when I check mail or something like that. Because after the whole Trump era thing and everything going on with, I don't know, like just everything in the news, like how everything got covered, like crazy with the in relation to like Black Lives Matter and Trump stuff and COVID stuff and just everything that was just in your face every day, and just like create like it just seemed like you don't want to watch the news anymore. Like you didn't pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, I was over it. I was over it. I've been over it. Plus, I mean, we have a healthy dose of reality, like you know what I mean? Because even before, like when I used to watch the news, sort of can escape things. You know what I mean? So but it just feels like the whole world is sort of vibrating different. If that's the way to describe it. Everybody's more aware that the world right now is in a lot of turmoil. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of turmoil, a lot of uncertainty. One of the things I heard today on like NPR. What's going on, G Rocky?
What's up?
One of the things they were saying was like I think it was Nigeria is preparing for a bread shortage, and mainly because of what's going on, with Ukraine and Russia. And the thing is, it's like to me, it all pings back to, to some degrees, we got to keep our ears to the street and sort of know what's going on because everything's affecting everything. Like I was looking at bread costs today, and they had potato bread. It was like $6. It was like $6.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I think I remember how to make bread. I haven't done it in 400,000 years, but I mean,
I got a bread making machine, man.
It might be about that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I broke that out. I only bought one a while ago during the COVID stuff.
Well, get out. So you do have one. You got one at the house. Yeah. I mean, do you make like regular bread, or you do like the banana breads and all the zucchini breads and all that other good stuff?
No, I don't get that fancy with it, but I made like a rate. Yo, we gonna be talking about making bread on this.
We just talking about.
All right, man, I'm gonna change off this topic real quick. I made I made a regular bread. I'm trying to make it sound, manly. And make like
it's bread, man. I eat yogurt. I mean, what are we gonna do here? Doc Sin, one love, bro. Well, I mean, I eat yogurt. You know what I'm saying? How manly is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I juice now.
Yeah.
When we were coming up, I used to be like, people juice? Like, what is that? Like, juicing, I do all of that, Show us what's going on. That's really right there.
So the inflation, so on that same topic, the inflation stuff with everything is just crazy. Like, it's just like, I think everybody just frustrated with just everything from in general, price and plus what makes it worse is they sneaking in the prices of everything.
And they shrinking everything else. We giving it up, man. Yeah. But I don't understand. I don't see how somebody has to explain where's all this money going. You can't tell me, man, this isn't a money grab to some degrees, man. I'm sorry. I'm not an economist or nothing like that. I know you have your mind studying all that stuff. But you think all of this is necessary? You think, some people are like, yo, it's advantage time. Let's get this paper. And,
Yo, listen. My years ago, when I was younger, I don't know if I'm gonna tell this quick story real quick.
Larry, what up? What's the story, brother?
No, it's not. I mean, it's not even a story. It's like, so I remember when I first. This is like going into college. I remember taking the first economics class, and realizing, and also when they first explained how the banking system. I'm gonna get like nerdish on the finance side of things. Like, they first explained how the banking system worked and how banks and I don't know why I'm forgetting the I think they call the money multiplier effect. They got a few different names for it, but how they broke down on how a bank takes out when you deposit like $1,000 into the bank, how the bank only they only keep on reserve 10% of that, and they then loan out 900, then they loan out that 900 back. And when they basically, I forget the actual dollar amount, but when they explain like a bank takes $1,000 and loans that money over like multiple times and winds up making that same 1,000 like into like I don't know how many thousands of dollars in charges, like 50 different people interest on that same money. I was sitting in class, I was like, what the hell? I was like, yo, they got the game stacked against us. I was 18 years old.
Is this legal? Right.
It was funny, like, because I was sitting in class and I was like, y'all so baffled. I was like, what? I was like, banks do what? And it just clicked at that time. It was just like, how the whole interest in banking system works. But it was like one of the first classes I took. I was like, they do what? They take my money, they keep 10% on, then they take that same money, loan to Deb, they take that same money and loan it to Charles, take the same money, loan it to Steven, Trillis, who else is on? Larry, Castro, Leo, and I was like, what?
Are you serious?
And then but I was legitimately like baffled by that stuff. And I was like, damn, I was like, what the hell are we doing? I said, what can you do about that? And then one of the other things they taught they broke down all the different classes in the US society. And we always talk about lower class, middle class, and upper class. But they broke it down into like more. I think it was like about 9 different classes. And I remember the professor at the time saying that statistically, there was like only 90-some percentage chance that you're only gonna move from one class to one level up. And I was like, damn, like in your lifetime, you know what I mean? So they was pushing out some like depressing type things that, when you're young, everybody's, you got all these goals like, oh, I'm gonna, make millions and do this and this. And they were basically saying like, nah, if you move a class, you're gonna go from like, say lower middle to like middle, and that's your movement in the class.
All right, fellas.
Oh no, you gotta fix that.
Audio
Hold on.
You gonna mute it?
I can correct that.
I'm gonna mute it for 1 second. So we gonna get that fixed. So you ain't gonna come back here with that, see?
He's like, all right, I'm back.
So they was like, so what the professor taught in this class was like, you're gonna only move up one class, and I was like, damn. I was like,
right,
you think you'll make money,
right?
And so one of the other things I realized too, and they was talking about inflation and all that stuff and everything. And y'all remember as a younger kid, I mean, this is something funny. Well, I don't know how funny this is. Plus, I'm feeling it time here. I remember thinking as a kid, I was like, yo, why if everyone's income goes up, because you hear like parents and great grandparents or whoever or grandparents talking like when you're younger, like, oh, gas used to be 30 cents a gallon or whatever. Like, you could buy a car for like, I don't know, for $3,000 or whatever it is. And they used to make $10,000 or $20,000 a year or whatever. And I was like, yo, if the amount you earn is that this amount, like in the 20s or whatever, the amount of the expenses is here. I was like, yo, what's the reason for inflation? I was like, yo, why don't the price always stay here? Like if your income goes up to 50 grand and then now cars now cost 30 grand. I was like, yo, why is there ever a need for inflation? I was like, I remember thinking about this younger. This is my finance side. I was like, why is there ever a need for inflation? If the price you make is gonna go up and the cost of things is always gonna go up, then why not keep the prices the same thing, right? This is my younger self thinking this finance wise, right? As I started to get a little older, this isn't even like, okay, this is where I started to piece together myself. Yo, and so this goes back to your first comment. What is the purpose for inflation? Yo, this is my own little, that's not even a theory. I think it's pretty much fact. Yo, the only purpose of inflation is to move money, to shift money in the economy, to take it from like the same stuff that's been happening for years. Like you have the ability to hold back and hold back, from interest rates and Federal Reserve stuff and everything, and you can move money from one sector of the economy to another. If you're making money, like otherwise it would stay more balanced, but it doesn't. It all happens with inflation. Like you suck the money from one sector and you push it toward another. That's my grand synopsis of inflation. And Z, you was muted before. Let's see if your sound is good yet. You live, Z.
I don't think he wants to talk right now.
Oh, that sounds good.
Is it good?
You can come back in now.
Oh, good.
Nah, yo, I'm back on my Bluetooth, man. Yeah, I had to mess with this car for a minute.
Yo, that's my whole synopsis with inflation, man. Yo, all it does is gives the ability to shift money in an economy, man. That's it. It shifts. It's a shift of money in the economy.
What to balance? You saying you feel it's like to balance out the different industries in the economy?
Balance it out, to move it, like not to do the opposite of balancing, to shift it more toward.
Towards what?
Toward the money makers, like the industry, business, higher income sectors or control of the economy, I guess you would say.
So, but you saying to make them make more profit?
Well, because it's because the bulk of the money is tied into like to business, you know what I mean? Like anything that runs business, like it's primarily affected by that, right? So interest rates, businesses, loans, the bulk of, it's held with.
But what I'm saying is, I'm trying to understand what are you? So you're saying that the purpose of the inflation is to shift money to the business owners.
A perfect example of that is on a smaller scale is gentrification, right? So gentrification, like what happens when you increase prices, like inflation, right? So inflation, you see people who would normally survive and pay for certain things get priced out of certain areas, right? For example, homes, right? So you get priced out of homes, you lose your property, you might lose whatever business you had in there, whether it's a corner store, barbershop, nail salon, or whatever. Now you priced out of it, you forced to go find something less expensive. So you're forced to downsize into that situation. Whereas somebody who has the money then, who has the resources, will then swoop in, scoop that up, because you've been priced out from a number of different reasons: inflation, interest rates going up, mortgage prices, rent prices going higher. Now they can scoop that up, build off of that same thing. So only those who have more can then take advantage of those situations because the inflation is not going to affect them in the same way. They're able to capitalize off it. In the same way, stocks happen right now. Like our whole economy is down like almost damn 30% from the stocks and everything. Everyone's 401k investment things, everything. All right, so what do we all see? That you, Dev, everybody got some money in the thing. So all right, I have my money there in my stocks. Damn, I can't really move and take advantage of stuff. I've always heard that, this is a good time to buy stocks when stuff is low. I can't do that now. But those who are not restricted by that still have cash flows and access to certain money. Okay, I'm gonna buy up stuff at fire sale prices now. I'm gonna take advantage of that stock. You know what I mean? So that whole inflation thing is not going to affect me in the same way it's going to you. It affects the wealthy as a point where we can take advantage of it more, whereas opposed those with less money are just even more restricted from it. That's my point. Does that make sense?
I mean, I'm following it.
So I mean, that's you know, and that's nothing that came from anything in particular. I mean, that's my own piecing together of how things kind of come about, I guess, for the most part. But you can see it. I mean, you can see it on a smaller scale. You can see it on a larger scale. I mean, in any instance where those, and this is again, people with funds or businesses or conglomerates or whatever you call it, are able to take advantage during times that are supposed to be like downturns in the economy, then you can scoop up what those who are less fortunate or less capable of doing. You can take advantage of these times more so than anybody else. So there's without a question a shift in that money, because they're able to.
But the only thing in that scenario is that, like how you use with the gentrification, is the prices of the property isn't like like you're saying they swoop in and get it at a lesser price, but the price isn't really going down. You see what I'm saying? So when in the shift, that's what I'm trying to follow 100%.
No. The price isn't going down, but the expense has gone up, making it not affordable for many, right? But still affordable.
Yeah.
For some.
Okay.
So the price. You're right. The price doesn't have to move, but the cost of living, the cost to,
it pushes the people out who can't no longer afford their mortgage.
Right, but that scenario happens in every aspect of the economy. See, and it doesn't necessarily start there. Like it's built into like inflation, right? And so that inflation stuff starts when inflation stuff is like control. Like when you heard on the news like they're changing interest rates and all sort of stuff, it all has to do with like creating money and moving money in and out of the economy. I think I talked about it briefly on here before. Some of these guys who we had on who could talk this finance stuff better than me, like anytime you move more of something into supply, like it becomes the value of it decreases. Like when they push money into the economy through all this COVID stuff and everything, the value of the money goes down. So people are spending more and more. Then we're gonna pull that money back out. So you had the Federal Reserve banks increase the interest rates and everything. So that sucked money out of the economy. So it caused all the prices, everything to raise like kind of dramatically. Like they knew this was happening. It's part of the plan on how like the Federal Reserve and all that stuff does stuff with the economy. Somebody made a comment. Is it to put more money into the economy? Is it to put more money into the economy? No, I mean if I understand you right, like well, that's what they did during the whole COVID the pandemic. The government pushed more money into the economy to stimulate it, is what they call it. They call it like stimulus bills and everything like that. But whenever you push more money into an economy, by default it devalues money overall. Like what's the simplest way to explain that is like when you have too much of anything, right? So if we all have these hats in here, like this, say if I'm the only one, I got the new hat or the new Jordans or whatever. It's worth something. Maybe they're worth $300, $400, $500 or whatever. Okay, now somebody floods this whole room or this whole live page is like, oh, I got Jordans, I got 300 of them, I got 400 of them. But I got to get rid of them now. Now I'm stuck with it. The value of it's going to go down. My fly Jordan on my flat that's worth $400 or $500 is not worth that. Now it's worth $100. All right, now the value of it just dropped down. Same thing happens with money. When they flooded the economy with all that money that came from nothing, from not from work or producing things, they just put it into the economy. It decreased the value of all of our dollars. We probably shouldn't get too deep into this. I don't know if it's going to be a good. But it devalues. Anytime you push more of something into a contract, it devalues. It takes away from the value of it. Includes money. Like, and somebody asked me this before. So I think Charles, you asked me, is it a good or a bad thing that they did that? Is it a good or bad thing? I guess it's something like if done with a perfect kind of balance, it can be good, but when done to excess, it does exactly what was caused. It floods the market
But
with.
you know how crazy this stuff is that like how you trying to like read different things and figure it out, and understand the game of money, so to speak. Because the crazy thing is right now, especially if you just have like a currency converter app, kid, yo,
Mhm.
the dollar is actually getting stronger,
It is getting stronger right now.
not weaker, which is the almost the exact opposite of yo, they flooded so much money in the economy, it makes the dollar valueless. The dollar, as far as, so it's two ways to look at that: valueless in American society, or valueless as far as a global currency. And the euro, actually, like one of the strongest currency was the British pound, then like the euro. The dollar's basically caught the euro. They almost 1 for 1. I think it's like maybe 3 cent different. And the money exchange from other people's currencies is through the roof. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you getting a good value on your dollar in foreign currency exchanges. So the dollar was weakening on the global economy before the pandemic, 100%. And then they flooded the money, which in theory, like agreeing with what you're saying, it seemed like it should have devalued it even more, but it's actually gotten stronger, which is some weird type of thing. Now they say that the reason that's happening is because of how fast the Fed is moving and how aggressively they're moving with the interest rates. Like that joint mind boggles me, kid. Like when I be reading it, trying to like really grasp an understanding of the economics of all of this stuff, because like so many times, like even like you just said, like I would have thought it through like that same way. Yo, the dollar, how can the dollar, man? They just printed money. That's what you always hear. Yo, they just printed money, but literally the dollar has gotten stronger after they just printed a bunch of money, and it's caught the like it's almost outside of the British pound. Let's say the euro is like the strongest currency. The dollar's caught the euro. Now that could be because of stuff in Europe, obviously, but yo, it's like it's gaining power. It's not even losing it on a world scale.
You know what? Somebody had explained some of that to me. I think it was Boston. The same thing that you was just dropping. Um, my only thing is to what you were saying a second ago. Um, with the spark in my brain is like if it's sort of hard for us to understand, and we know that some of the stuff they're doing, they're controlling. Is it sort of like, and I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but is it sort of like the setup for something else? Because remember, like consumer confidence, the recession, all this stuff that's been pumped into our heads. Now all of a sudden you're seeing news articles. Oh, there's more houses on the markets. Oh, this that, and the third is happening. But all of that happened once they raised that interest rate to the point where people are like, I'm not buying it all. I'm like, you're not buying nothing. But it was also said that they did that to sort of cool some of those
The
markets.
market, yeah. See, and that's what I
To
thought
do
when I
what?
was
Wait, I didn't hear
asking
the last
Mike
one you said.
about the balancing.
Say that last one again. They did that to do what?
Or they did it to cool the markets.
Yeah.
Oh no, they definitely did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so.
Yeah. No, what was you about
So
to say?
that's what I thought you was talking. That's what I thought you was going to when you saying about a shift in money, like where like when you talk about like the housing markets, you look at the car industry, you look at like the commodities market, our food and stuff like that. I thought like you was gonna tie it into like with the prices of different things, trying to balance out the overall economy to make, instead of like, yo, houses is going crazy right now, yo, this is going crazy right now. How do I fluctuate with the money to try to get everything back on an even keel? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I thought you was gonna tie in the shifting of the money versus just that, like the proverbial is just a money grab for the rich to get richer. I don't think they're ever really in a position where they're not making money. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, but
So
it's Let me see the best way to. I think the best way to explain is kind of what I said before. Like when okay, so if we get into the whole finance of it, right? So the whole purpose of and we get real financial, and I know we got to get back to one of our other topics. But the whole purpose, all right. So there's the Federal Reserve, right? The Federal Reserve is the people, if people get into, it's not even a conspiracy thing, like it's a privatized organization. Some people say it's, they point out that it's not even a federal institution, right? So, and their whole purpose is monetary policy, right? And they're the ones who lend out money to all the banks and stuff like that. So their whole purpose is to either allow more money into the economy or to suck more money out of the economy. Like that's all they do at any given time, right? They allow more money in, allow more money out. To keep like exactly what you said, Z, like, to keep how strong the dollar is and stuff like that. But they know anytime now some people will say, politicians, stuff like that is the Federal Reserve should have a hands-off policy, like it should just, we shouldn't touch nothing. Just let the economy do what it does. But anytime it kind of gets messed up, the Federal Reserve dumps more money into the economy. So it's like a quick fix. It's like, all right, let's provide money here. And so, and they call it a stimulus, right? But so this is, I'm gonna drop. This is one important thing. And so, and actually, I'm gonna find there's this link. I'm gonna put it in the chat. There's this one dope. So there's a senator. This dude used to be so on point. Anybody who paid attention to this political stuff years ago is this dude named senator named Ron Paul. I don't know where he's at, if he's alive.
Yeah, Ron Paul. You're from Texas. I think he was from Texas.
Ron Paul. Ron Paul used to be so, and I think he's a Republican too. Mm-hmm. But he used to be so on point financially and battling with the. I think he ran for president one time too, but lost. But he was so sharp with his stuff. And so at one time there's this Federal Reserve chairman named Ben Bernanke. I still remember his name because at the time that's when I first started learning about this stuff. And he asked him. He was like, he's like in a hearing or whatever. And he straight after asked him, he says, he said, how can you, as the Federal Reserve, in control of all the economy and stuff in the U.S., dump all this money into the economy when it's stealing money away from everyone who owns a dollar, who possesses a dollar? Like he's like, when you, and explain the same way I do, when you dump money into the economy, it essentially takes money out of my bank account. Now you may think, how can somebody put money into it? If I got $100 in the bank, how is it going to take? It's not taking my $100 out. My $100 is still there. That's what all of us will think. But he's like, no, like, this is a dude who studies monetary policy. He's like, no, when you allow more money into the economy, it takes more money. How does it do that? Because it allows more money there, and it devalues what my stuff is worth. Like it winds up allowing me to buy less, like in the grand scope of things. Like the prices of things, because everybody has so much money, they increase, the cost of certain things. So I can no longer purchase, a gallon of gas.
You lose spending power, basically.
You lose spending power. So my $100 is not buying what $100 is now, in the same way. In the same way, $100 now is different than 100. So you can see it when you think in time, like $100 50 years ago was going to buy you a ton of stuff, right? That same $100 now is not getting you nothing. But that's the same principle, right? It just happens like much smaller on a day-to-day basis. So he's like, how can you, as a policy of the government, allow that to happen? And he basically says, we just do what we're instructed to do, and following the policy and stuff like that. But I'm gonna put a clip to it, like what he says, and this is like 10, 15 years ago or something like that. And when you see the guy who's control of all this money answer it, you can tell he's stuck by him asking the question so bluntly, and he has nothing more to say than we're just doing what we're kind of told to do. We know it's taking the money out of the economy, but so be it, kind of thing. So I mean that's like, I don't know, when I don't get any more deep into it, like that's the best way I can explain.
It is deep, definitely.
You got a question up there. I guess any of us can in our own way. You see, right now, what is the best way to invest and increase your assets? And if anything that we say, we are not financial advisors. We are just speaking some opinions. opinion?
Well,
If we can, please.
So investing stuff is always like a tough one, and we definitely have better people who've been on discussions or been involved in discussions who can jump in and chime on that better. One of excuse me a second. I think what would be so one of the things that that's been talked about a lot more so recently has been, especially on social media, has been the benefits of insurance policies that follow like index funds and things like that, right? And so those are those insurance policies that basically allow you to invest. Like, so you have a term insurance policy that covers you insurance wise, but it's also like an investment, and they have the security of being controlled in a way where you never lose money on it. You only have the ability to gain a certain interest rate, whether it's 2, 5, or 7%. But when the market has a downturn, that insurance policy or plan doesn't allow you to actually lose any money. It's very unique to these insurance policies, as opposed to like regular stock investments and 401ks or 401(3)(b)s and things like that.
I mean, first too, you gotta you have to decide even before all of that, like the individual, as to the young lady that asked the question, is first you have to decide even what your risk tolerance is within yourself. Like what type of, are you trying to do aggressive? Are you trying to do conservative investing? Like, are you trying to get like the money, over a long term? You're talking about like, leaving something sitting 20, 25 years versus flipping money. So like before you really even get into like the different things to invest in, whether it's the life insurance, the stocks, treasury bonds, mutual funds, ETFs and all that stuff, like like you really need to first assess your like risk potential and like your tolerance for that risk, to decide even what type of investment you're even looking at first.
And I think if somebody wants to look up the ones that are being talked about,
I'll be back.
A lot.
Go ahead, y'all keep going. I'll be back.
A lot on social media nowadays are the IULs, the Index Universal Life Insurance policies, and those are the ones like. So I think IULs, Index Universal Life Insurance, and those are the ones that are insurance policies, but follow like the index in the stock market, and there's a certain protection on those that again don't allow you to lose money. So anyone who wants to like put money somewhere, I think like nowadays like those are like the safest ways to hold money, because they also allow you like a bunch of benefits. And I'm just passing on some general information, some stuff I've learned like over the last couple of years. So they allow you to a number of different things. Like one, they allow you the protection of having it in an account that's not gonna we're not gonna lose money, right? Because they have the protections of again not going down with the market, but only being able to increase with the uptrend. And the insurance companies protect it. It's not that the market won't go down, but they protect it to a certain amount. So you may not get your full 3, 4, 7, 8% or whatever. But the market dips down, it'll stop at a 0. So you just won't earn the same amount of interest. You'll always keep the same amount, but it won't go below a certain amount. So it has that protection in there. But so you can have premiums, but you also have the amounts that you add to it in this investment fund that will continue to rise. It's one of the big benefits that I think we've all found about, and we, Dev, Charles, and I, as we listened to a lot of things recently, is that you can also borrow against those funds. So it works almost in the same way as 401ks have done traditionally, and so they allow you to borrow against money that you can put back into your account again as well. So you kind of borrow from yourself. Those are those things like that you might have seen on social media. Well, create your own bank, right? Don't borrow money from a bank. Create your own bank. Those people using those index funds or insurance policies in order to do certain things like that. So yeah. So anything else? So, and not getting too deep into that investment stuff, but as Charles mentioned too, so those are pretty safe overall. Like those are non-risky investments and long-term investments that I think we've learned about recently. And again, they're things that they've talked about, like earn your leisure and different podcasts and things like that. I talked about recently, which are like especially big, like kind of now are becoming this new information, especially like in the Black community, because everybody kind of says like we weren't up on any of this stuff years ago, but it's something to look into nowadays, especially as far as other investments and things like that. Like I was mentioning before, like the market is completely down right now. So people who are going to invest or are looking to invest, like these are those times, when people say like you should look into it or consider, but with that you always have to do with what you're comfortable with, and and I always say too, or even make the point to do myself as well. Like you always have to have staggered investments as well too. Like you stagger your investment times. It could be like twice a month or once a month, or it could be over certain pay periods. So if there's a turn in the market, it's done gradually to whatever your investment is. So you'll invest certain amounts per paycheck, pay period, monthly, and let that money accumulate over time. And I think I should stay away from investment talk.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing that I wanted to say to Natasha was it's a really good time to learn how to invest. Too many times when people think of investments and stuff like that, it can be a little bit overwhelming. It's just like Mike was explaining. There's just so many different ways that people are actually making money or investing. When he was just talking about earn your leisure, I was thinking about Wall Street Trapper. I thought about earn your leisure a little while ago. We've had numerous shows where we've actually had CEOs of companies on the show. We didn't tell you they were CEOs, but they were literally sitting here and they were dropping some gems. And one of the websites that I personally use is blackops.center. And that's literally blackops.center. Just as you say, ton of information up there. And what I also started doing, especially during the pandemic, was basically acculturating myself with financial groups. I've been on numerous calls with a group that Mike is a part of, and I'm a part of it now. But I mean, just getting the invite, just to listen in a few times, and then just starting to see how other people are thinking is very empowering. Also, I would say be okay with being a novice. Just be okay, like knowing, like I don't know. You know what I mean? And knowing that, okay, your hard-earned money, you do want it to work for you, but all of that comes in time. Like there's really no quick fix as far as investments. I mean, otherwise it's technically volatile, and there's really no quick fixes. Like, I wish I knew at 25 or 30, when I used to be in the clubs, hanging out and stuff, even 10% of what I know now. And if I knew the 10%, I wish that I was disciplined enough to apply some of those principles. Case in point, Newman Davis, who's been a repeat guest of ours, he was talking to me the other day, and he was talking about, I sent him a link, and I was like, yo, is this true? And what the link basically was saying was that if you have a business, basically you can hire your children, and up to about $6,000 per child, you can tuck that money away, and it won't get taxed. So it's sort of like, not necessarily the Roth. I can't remember all of the structures, but he hit me back and was like, yeah, it's true. We're the ones that are learning tactics that have been there for the longest time. And as much as I don't care for that dude, the guy, whatever his name is, that number, the red hat dude, something he said stuck out to me many years ago. And it was just interesting. Even though I know he's a crook, I'm going to say what he said that made me think. He was like, basically in a nutshell, I'm just using the rules that are there to save my money. So it's one thing, like Mike said earlier, to put your money in the bank, and they use the money for all kinds of investments, and then give you zero to nothing on the return of all the money that they make. And, you getting this little, not even a penny on the dollar for whatever they're making. It's another thing to become the bank. And when Mike said, he didn't use that phrase. That's the line of thinking where I'm at now. Leo Bridgewater might join us in a little bit, but even last week when Leo was talking and we were talking about generational wealth and things like that, maybe I'm not where I want to be, but I'm definitely going to keep talking to my children and my friends and my family in the language and in the spirit of what financial literacy is now. Because the more we make it a part of our dialogue, the more we question, and the more we study how people are making money, I think the more better off we'll be. And earlier in the link, somewhere in the comment section, I put a link, and I think it was, I don't know who the guy was. I mean, I'm assuming he was a billionaire, but something he said in that link, I thought was like really pretty much the thinking that more of us are starting to have. And if you want, Mike, I can play that. Just play the audio part of that link. While Charles is going. I think it was like a minute long. Otherwise, people just find it and click on it. It's at
the audio of which link is that?
In 921, I put an Instagram link up from earlier today. And I was just gonna say, if you want, I can play it. And
this is the.
And but pretty much in a nutshell, what the guy was saying is like, number one, he's like, y'all hating the player, and he was like, the old phrase, don't hate the player, hate the game. But he's like, don't hate none of it, just learn it. Just learn it. And ultimately that's where my school of thought is starting to go, because I know how much information has been completely void in our educational processes. I know how much information wasn't taught to us. When I first got to college, the first thing the bank did when I opened up the account was they gave me my bank card, and then they gave me basically what was the amount of $200 in overdraft. My stupid young mind, oh man, I got $200, and I'm running to the mall and not realizing, boom, they already put me in debt. I put myself in debt, but the game was already rigged. You understand what I'm saying? I jumped into the system not understanding anything about saving money and the discipline of saving money. And so, we got to keep having these talks, find other people who are thinking along the same lines, and tell them and learn from them. I ask a million questions. I know there's just so much I don't know, but I ask a million questions. But one thing I do want to say, Natasha, is if you are looking at something in the now to learn, I don't even want to say it on this. I don't want to say it because I don't want to sound crazy. I'll hit you up through Facebook or whatever. But there is something that I've been encouraging people to at least look into, because there's not a lot of us as melanated people doing it, but there's a lot of money being made with group economics, with other people who are like putting together $50,000 to $100,000, and over 18 months, 2 years, they're making enough money where one set of people actually made enough money where now they're micro lenders. So they took that $100,000 and got it over 1.5 million, and then they started lending out money to make more money on the money. So, but that's a whole other discussion.
I think, Dev, probably like the most useful thing we could probably let them know is that like we're involved like with other calls and podcasts and things that everybody's like welcome to jump in on.
Absolutely.
That always talk about those things. And one you mentioned, and people I guess who have their own cast, and you mentioned Black Ops. Yeah. And the other one, I don't know what the good name of that one is, but the other business talk that we do with somebody who teaches financial literacy as well too. So I mean, if anybody wants to join in on those, like just shoot a message.
Hit us up, and get on some of those calls, and because people who make, the funny thing is when you talk to people who made a lot of money, whether it was in stocks, whether it was with investments, real estate, commercial investments, once they make the money, their whole thing is just how to keep the money. their whole line of thinking is how do I keep what I have? And if you can click that link that I put in there a little while ago, and I see Charles is back. He's not back, but he's almost back. I think you might find that what he said to be somewhat useful. You might not, everybody might not agree with it, but again, let's elevate our thinking, and let's learn together. Let's just learn together. So, yeah, man.
I was Dev, well, you said you were going to share. You were thinking about sharing some of the video. I think I found the video of
Fully agree with you, Rocky. You said, what'd you say about the video?
You said you were gonna share some other video.
Well, I was just gonna play it so you can hear what he said. I mean, I wasn't gonna show the actual video footage, because
okay. Right.
But at least you can hear exactly what he said, and yeah, I'll play it really quick. I have it right here. Man, people are so nuts, man. Oh my gosh. Let's see. All right, I'm about to pull this link up because I know I'm sounding a little like all over the place right now. There's that.
Dev is queuing it up. Keep him in chat.
I'm trying to queue it up, but I'm doing a little baddie right now. I'm just gonna find it from over here. All right, here it is. 9:21. Show it. That is the link. Oh shit! What did I do? It's the craziest thing in the world. I'm actually trying to click a link that I put in there, but now I can't find the link that I put in there.
All right, let me. You know what? I was gonna. I don't know how much of this we can listen to, but I was just thinking. Let's see if this guy, if the guy Ben Bernanke. I was talking about the financial thing and the interest and everything before. So I'm gonna play that while you're still looking for yours.
Okay.
I'm gonna just
look it up.
Take over my earpiece, and maybe this explain a little bit about what the hell we was talking about before.
Okay.
Hold on, while we're sitting here, and you can let me know if you hear this.
Back from the campaign trail, this seems to me like deja vu all over again. Mr. Bernanke.
So now again, this is now. Hopefully, this don't bore people too much again, but this is Senator Ron Paul talking to the Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke about him stealing money and the Federal Reserve stealing money from the economy. This is something from years ago, but I think hopefully it's not too long. But I think it breaks down like the point a little bit. If I haven't listened to it in a while, if it's too lengthy, I'll cut it off.
Don't mind. Would you tell me whether or not you do your own shopping at the grocery store?
Can you hear that?
Yes, I do. Okay, so you're aware of the prices. But, this argument that the prices are going up about 2%, nobody believes it. And the old CPI says prices are going up at 9%, so they believe this. And people on fixed incomes, they're really hurting. The middle class is really hurting because their inflation rate is very much higher than the government tries to tell them. If you loan me $100 and in 2 years from now I gave you 90 back, you'd be pretty upset. But we paying back that money back that's worth 10 or 15 or 20% less, and nobody seems to be able to do anything about it. It's very upsetting. But it's theft. If I don't give you your full $100 back, if you loan me $100, I'm stealing $10 from you. So somebody's stealing wealth, and this is very upsetting. But in January at one of your press conferences, you said that you sort of poked a little bit of fun at people to downplay the 2% inflation rate. But if you say it's 2 and I say it's 9, it's compromised for the sake of argument that it's 5%. That you said that if it doesn't hurt you unless you're one of those people who stick their money in the mattress. But where are you going to put it? Are you going to put it in a CD and not make any money at all? So this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't encourage the savings, and it just discourages people. But I do want to make a point about prices, because prices go up. That to me is not the inflation. It is one of the bad consequences of the inflation, which comes from the increase in the money supply, and that's one of the bad effects. But you took over the Fed in 2006. I have a silver ounce here, and this ounce of silver back in 2006 would buy over 4 gallons of gasoline. Today it'll buy almost 11 gallons of gasoline. That's preservation of value, and that's what the market has always said should be money. Money comes into effect in a natural way, not in an edict, not by fiat, by governments declaring.
Oh, let me see if I can break down what he's saying there. So now he's talking about like precious metals and stuff. So they're talking about years ago how everything used to be on a gold standard. So he's saying the value of silver has gone up, which is actually worth something. It hasn't gone down, but whereas you talk about the value of money, he's saying this has a reverse effect in how the Fed like messes around with the value of it.
It is money. But why is it that we can't consider, the two of us, an option? You love paper money. I think money should be honest, constitutional, still on the books, gold and silver, legal tender. Why don't we use it? But why don't we allow currencies to run parallel? They do around the world. One of my options, as much as I would like to do something with the Fed, I say the Fed's going to self-destruct eventually anyway when the money's gone. But why wouldn't we legalize competing currencies? Why couldn't people put this in a mattress and get 4 or 5 times much of the value in a few years? So the record of what you've done in the last 6 years is destroy the value of real money.
First of all, good to see you again, Congressman Paul. Just one word on the inflation. Of course, those numbers are constructed by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, not by the Fed. They're independently constructed, and I think they're done in a very serious and thoughtful way. On alternative currencies, nobody prevents you from holding silver or gold if you want to. It's perfectly legal to do that. And you're also it's also perfectly fine to hold other currencies, euros or yen or whatever else. So in that respect, you can do that, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
But Mr. Chairman, that's not money. I mean, when you pay taxes to buy a coin, or you have a capital gains tax, when it's not, if you have to settle a lawsuit, it's always settled in depreciating Federal Reserve notes. It's never settled in the real contract. So that's nothing near money. When it's illegal to use it. But to do it, you'd have to repeal the legal tender laws. You would have to legalize this. You'd have to get rid of the sales taxes. You'd have to get rid of the capital gains taxes. People, even in Mexico, they're talking about this. They're trying to have competing currencies. They've been wiped out too many times with inflation and wiped out the middle class. They're allowing people to start to save in a silver currency. So I hope we move along in that direction, because there shouldn't be any overwhelming changes all of a sudden.
All right, I'm gonna stop there because it's a few more. Oh, actually, there's actually a few seconds left. I think. Hold on a second.
There could be a transition. People could vote on it. Maybe they'll give up on the Federal Reserve note and vote for real money.
I'd be very happy to talk to you about it.
Thank you.
Oh, so there's actually a longer thing, but yeah, that's part of that talk there. So so he actually drops down like that whole value of money thing on how inflation and the Federal Reserve and all that whole money supply thing, like robs money from the
Audible
general.
is the best place to listen for everyone.
Sorry, from the general public and stuff. So yeah, let me end that on that note. Oh, I see Z is back, and we got Leo join us in the background as well.
Yeah, we're gonna bring him in, and I'm gonna the clip I got is real quick. So it's a quick clip.
What up?
What up?
Falcon Pride. What up, fellas?
What's good with you, man?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Y'all was hitting real good topics.
Yeah. Say again?
I said you were hitting on some real good topics. The things you were talking about as far as like group economics, the need to, acquire and accumulate wealth, the lessons learned. I got the Discover card and the Wachovia card one of my freshman year.
So you had your overdraft for about $400. They probably dragged you. They probably dragged you, man. They probably dragged you. Yeah.
Right at the ATM machine in the student center. Right there.
Yo, I don't know if it's still like that in schools nowadays, but that was another thing in colleges on how they snatched up kids and had them.
Yeah, they had the table out there.
Instantly into debt, like right away. Like, oh, you want some credit? Here you go. Spend that money until you don't.
Yeah. So it's like, but we're supposed to come out knowing, having had some sort of, lessons on financial literacy and whatnot. And, that wasn't the case because of a lot of times because of where we were coming from.
Exactly. I remember kids getting those cards like it was found money. Like, oh, I got free money. Like, We go to the store. Just max it out. And then it was like, okay, it's the money.
I went up to Crabtree balling.
I went to North Hills.
You went to North Hills?
I went to North Hills. These are the malls in Raleigh. North Carolina. I was shocked. I actually remember one of the things I bought was a sweater, you know, and felt like I was doing something, you know, got me a new sweater, you know, just going into debt.
And you used to be able to take out just $5.
That's a fact. Wow.
Yeah, you used to be able to take $5 out. You used to be able, that was the lowest amount of currency you could take out.
You bringing us back to a time where payphones were everywhere.
Bruh, when you came to the top of the stairs of the student union, that was that big ass screen TV right there. Because everybody used to watch Ricky Lake in front of it.
Ricky Lake?
Not Ricky Lake.
Oh, not Ricky Lake. Man, you took it.
Come on, man. You don't remember seeing people?
I remember all of that. I remember going up in the union and everybody playing spades. And
the pool table.
The pool table,
like talking shit. Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
What I want to do before we dive into the financial literacy and close out with the guns, because we, you know, what are we at? What's the time we at? Right now we almost like that, but we're doing pretty good. I want to just play this clip and basically. Basically, what this is I put the link inside the comment box, but the question that it said was, or basically the statement was, why billionaires avoid income taxes? And so I'm trying to see who this guy is. I don't know. Apparently, he's a billionaire, but this is what he said. And let me see. It's not the house music. I just need to set the levels.
I don't pay income taxes in America. Like last year, I didn't pay any income taxes. Yeah. But I paid $30 million worth of property taxes. Yeah. I have 185 people on one payroll and 175 people on another payroll with $21 million a year in salaries, plus 15% matching. I'm doing my share, fair share. Now, if I can figure out a way personally to, okay, I'm going to go buy a jet, I'm going to offset my income, not pay any income taxes, well, I'm going to play every game I can. Yeah. And everybody should play every game you can. Yep. People need to complain about right now is not the billionaires, because what they're saying is there's income inequality, but the reality is there's education inequality. Okay, the billionaires play by a different set of rules than everybody else. So do I blame the guy playing by a different set of rules, or do I blame the game? The old saying about don't hate the player, hate the game. Yeah. You need to learn how to win at the game. Yeah. Don't hate anybody. Learn the game. I don't pay income taxes.
That resonated with me, yo. It really did. It resonated with me. And normally when I hear billionaires talk, it doesn't really resonate with me because it's just stratosphere. You know what I mean? They're doing things differently. But just the whole notion of learning how to win the game. Because all they're going to do is change the rules. Y'all know what they're going to do. The more of us or the more people, you know, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, you know, just don't have, you know, socially economics, don't necessarily match the billionaires. The more that learn how to get into this thing and invest, they're just gonna change the rules. But that's the part where I'm like, yeah, like, you know, like that's what makes me so happy about us talking about finances and talking about financial literacy. And now young people are getting into tech and all that other stuff, and they got money to burn. Some of these young folk, they got money to burn. Like literally, I mean, I hope they don't burn it, but the point is, they don't have old ways of thinking. Mm-hmm. That's really what it boils down to. You know, even when people are older, I don't want to have like an old way of thinking, especially as far as finances and things that we can literally study and get metrics on and do together. You know, that paradigm that one of the groups that are using, they don't invest more than $100,000, literally. Their benchmarks are technically between $50,000 to $90,000 for what it is they're investing in. And literally they made like a quick $1.5 million. Why? Because they studied. You see what I mean? They learned, they saw something, and they was like, okay, this would make sense for us. And they're practicing group economics, and I'm all in. So if anybody's interested in that type of stuff, I mean, hit my inbox. You know, Mike and Charles are already familiar with it. Leo, you actually talked to one of the gentlemen that's involved with that stuff, but I mean, we didn't talk about those types of investments in particular. But that's where my brain is at. You know what I mean? Yeah. So What did y'all think about what was said between what Mike posted and what I just played? What you played?
Yeah, we got a couple of things like that going on, like here in my hometown in Trenton, New Jersey. Got a group that's actually, I think each member of the group puts up somewhere between 20 and 10 and 20,000. And they collectively use that to actually buy property all around the city. You know, because it's, like now's that time where you can start getting, commercial property, particularly after COVID, for dirt cheap. Now, just to keep it all the way a buck, Dev, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how long it's been since you've been back in the city, you know what I'm saying? But
I'm a country boy now, so I come every blue moon.
Yeah,
Joe Biden is different than me. I'm messing with I'm messing.
No. I'm just saying. This is what I'm about to say. I'm using New York as my example, but you can say the same thing for any city, and that is, like one of the scariest things that I learned, or I could see is so many aluminum shutters that's down. You know what I'm saying, in the city. A lot of the businesses that were open prior to COVID ain't coming back, and you can see it. Like it is, I mean, it's nice to see the city bustling, but if you're someone who's accustomed to being around it, you also notice it. You know what I'm saying? Particularly in Manhattan and whatnot. And you can say that all over the city. Here in my hometown of Trenton, New Jersey, it's the same thing. A lot of businesses folded, not coming back. So there's abandoned buildings. There's a lot of commercial property. And then on top of that, because of COVID and everything like that, that workspace shit ain't coming back like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of companies who have figured out that it's better for their staff to work from home than it is for them to pay rent in a big ass office building. Like that's like it's happening. I mean, like the state of New Jersey, Devron, the state of New Jersey is has a thing where state workers only got to go into the office 3 times a week now, and they rotate. You see what I'm saying? That's the way. Like COVID.
Yeah.
For the
a lot of those hybrid schedules.
Yeah. And so what COVID did was it ripped the commercial real estate market a brand new ass. You know what I'm saying? And so to your point with that, with those types of groups and everything like that, now would be that time to start moving in and snatching up what you can while you can. It's it's interesting how things are moving and changing. Excuse me. Particularly in regards to the ripple effects of the Ukrainian war. You see how inflation is. You see how the gas dollar is. What's the secret to America, fellas? Money. You know what I'm saying? That's period. That's the secret to America. And if there's one thing 45 taught me, listening to him, you know what I'm saying, is that when you got money, there aren't very many decisions a president can make that would actually have a direct effect on you. Not that many. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at the state and local governments and stuff like that, that's the reason why you have to start paying attention. That black dollar got to mean something now. We put a president in.
Yeah. I was gonna chime in on what you said before. I haven't been in the back and forth in the city regularly in a while, but I was before COVID. I was doing some consulting down there, and I was down there every day. And there was some places that I frequented like every day, but I just like you said, I'd gone down there, later on, and there were like 3 different places I used to stop at, like buy something, eat at, close, like, and I was like, damn. Yeah. I was like, and these were places that were packed, like right before.
You know what? I said the same thing. I was like, there's a few of them, a few places. I was like, damn, I thought they were strong. Like, I just, I just didn't imagine. Like, there's certain businesses I imagine would survive.
Right.
Thing, and they didn't come back. So I'm feeling you on that because I noticed, and the only reason why I noticed is because these are places that I like to frequent.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say real quick, even for some of those restaurants, businesses that were super strong, the supply chain, which to this minute are not really understanding how significant it was damaged. Like it's a wreck. That also, people realize they got a choice now. You know, that reset where people was able to sit home, think things out. You know, people now, I got a choice. I can do something different. And you know, the staffing
2020 was
shortage.
a strong year for me.
Huh?
2020 was a strong year for me. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, you know, like I was coming off of a fabulous 2019, but 2020 and 2021, those were very, very, very strong years for me. You know what I'm saying? And I realized that's not something that everybody can say. You know what I'm saying? But I literally rolled all through 2020 and built up stuff off of the work that was done in 2019. You know what I'm saying?
You were one of the more fortunate ones.
Right. I recognize.
Yeah.
I recognize.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, because so many, you know, I'm gonna tell you
That's the thing of the pandemic, man. How you know, that's one of the, I don't want, not the ironies of it, but that's one of the, you know, I guess paradoxes of it. I don't know what the right word is right there, but
it might be paradox.
yeah, you know, because it's like, because it's like so many stuff. If you were in a position, some people really, really benefited from that situation, and others, you know, some gained a lot, and others literally lost like almost everything. You know what I'm saying? It was like
which is very similar to that inflation thing that I say when you have that shift of money in an economy, man. It's very similar to that. Different context, but similar. Yeah.
Yo, big dog, they wrote 2 $1 trillion checks in our faces.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like quick. Okay? Like
now to give you some context.
Twice.
Now here's the thing. Now here's a crazy thing, right? I looked this up. Now I hope I'm not off with this. Now you said $2 trillion checks twice. Now there's only, now I looked up how much currency is in matter of fact, it's in circulation at any given time. I think it's only like $1 trillion and change or something like that. So that should give you some context into like how it affects the economy when you flood money into the market like that. It's like, oh, there's $1 trillion, you know, they doubled it. Then what's my dollar worth? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's they just threw it in there. Oh, now they did it twice.
Mind you, during the global pandemic, so everybody was fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody at the same time. A year ago, me, my wife, and my sons, we went and spent a weekend down at a house in Long Island, right? And one of the wildest things I saw, you know, beautiful home, everything, you know, private beach, the whole 9 yards, right? You know, mansions and shit and everything, right? But out in the ocean, I swear to God, y'all, I counted at least 23 cargo ships. Remember that whole blockage shit and everything like that? And Mike and Lori was telling me, they was like, yo, it's like this every day, don't move. Like we were talking about, and this is literally because the only reason I remember is because it was Labor Day weekend last year. You know what I'm saying? So we were talking about how it was the whole blockage thing, supplies wasn't coming in and everything like that. The ripple effect of all that, you know what I'm saying? And mind you, during a global pandemic. So it wasn't just that the shipping lanes was blocked up and everything like that, but you were running skeletal crews. A lot of those people on those ships had to go through testing and all that shit. It was bananas, bro. Bananas. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward 1 year to where we are today, you know what I'm saying? If you were properly reading the tea leaves, you know what I'm saying, then this should not have come as a surprise. Now, one of the things that I learned, particularly about my industry, hence why it was such a strong year for me is because we figured out that we were pandemic proof. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, we grew, yeah. Yeah. No, because listen, in the beginning, my industry, we were all considered non-essential businesses at first.
Y'all were considered non-essential businesses for a very long time because y'all wasn't known to have the structure you got now.
Yeah, but the
booming business.
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is you got to understand. You know what I'm saying? We have a medical marijuana program.
That's true.
This is people like there are people who really like use this shit for real.
That's
And
okay.
you know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing, they considered liquor stores an essential business.
Yeah.
During the pandemic.
That's what drew a lot of criticism. Liquor stores were essential. Churches were shut down. Like that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You know, you got to realize you asking people to be hold up with their abusers. You know what I'm saying? They kids. You know, all that stuff like
themselves.
Yep, themselves. Yeah. So, you know, but at the same time, you know, you also got people who use cannabis as well. And on top of that, with anxiety going up, because after the pandemic, you pretty much can say the whole world qualifies for a medical marijuana card just based off of anxiety and PTSD, post-traumatic stress corona. And now we got monkeypox and all that shit. See, all these things create new customers. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens. People's anxiety goes up and everything like that. And they looking for, like, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that when they gave out those PPP loans and everything like that, no cannabis businesses were able to get any of that money. So y'all basically made us watch y'all give away all that money, you know what I'm saying, in loans, but y'all damn sure gonna ask us to help pay that shit back. That's how that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how it really went down. Those small business loans and everything like that, we ain't get that. And we ain't qualified for that. No. That's how and yet we still we're still growing. In a recession, when you're talking about, you know, investments and everything like that, and again, I ain't an investor. I take the, you know, same road as Devron. You know, I'm not a legal investor and everything like that. But I can tell you, you know, like a lot of these projects there's a lot of construction that's going to be going on during the recession, at least in this.
Yes, especially when you got some of these like North Carolina is just completely a different world at this point.
Oh, bro, like it's like North Carolina and like, in all honesty, it's like if I was to join a group or whatever, it's like we got to go get some farmland, like a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to go, and where we need to go is we need to go to Kentucky and we need to go to North Carolina. We have to have both. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, it's not just the buying of the land, but it's also the purchasing of or the construction of the fortification centers. You know what I'm saying? The actual plastics and all that stuff, the industrial hemp side of things. Like that's really what needs to be going on right now.
Maybe that's why Bill Gates buying up all the farmland. You know, the conspiracy people say to kill us by poisoning the food supply. Then, you know, after we got, it's funny because after we got off the conversation the other day and everything, I started thinking about it because I talked to a dude that is, he's hell bent on Bill Gates trying to depopulate and kill everybody in the world, right? Through medical research, vaccines, and all that type of stuff. And one of the things he always was saying is like, yeah, you know, why you think he want all that farmland, man? Watch how the food start being, right? So when we got off, I was like, nah, maybe he's ahead of the thinking. While you worrying about him poisoning the land, man, getting ready to start selling the world marijuana as a medicine, man. Who knows why he getting all of that? Because I was reading like he like the biggest farmland owner, private farmland owner in the world, or I mean in America. And so I was just laughing at that. I was like, yo, look up, man. Next thing you know, this dude is selling medical marijuana.
All right, so my question is what's the plan? You know what I'm saying? How do we turn all of that knowledge that you just gave us? How do we turn that into useful information. What do we do with that information? You know what I'm saying? Where do we go? What's the plan? You know what I'm saying? That's the one part that over the years for me has always been the biggest struggle. You know what I'm saying? Is we are chock full of history, you know what I'm saying? But we have no real actual battle plan. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, let me say something, bro. My school of thought as far as solutions is, you are a master in your world, and you have a wealth of different things that you bring to the table. I have to respect your leadership in that light and trust you to guide in that light. I think part of the issue right now for most people is just learning how to be quiet. Learning just to be quiet and also realize that you can't tell me nothing about being a teacher. I used to like literally lead forums with 200-300 people in it religiously. You know, I was a lecturer. People don't know that. But I'll say this, back then I thought I knew something. And the older you get, the more you realize you really don't know too much of anything. But we're at a time now where if I know Charles knows how to purify water, and I know that, you know, we deal with alkaline water and other things like that. I need to know that when I call Charles, I got to trust his leadership, and I have to be willing to be a student. And I just think that for this time period right now, all of the not to say all of the solutions, but most of the things that can help us and help people will keep constantly being put into a chaotic situation where, to your point earlier, yeah, everybody probably does need a car, you know what I mean? Or could qualify for a car. But the other side of it is just understanding, like, we have to get quiet and be able to hear ourselves, be able to hear our heartbeats, be able to understand that, like, you know, the game that keeps being played is every time something like this happens where we start talking solutions, the first thing somebody does is say, oh, ain't no damn solutions. And they already lost to me. Because for every man-made problem, in theory, there's a man-made solution. In theory. I mean, I know that's not straight across the board, but if I'm chopping up with Charles, if I'm chopping up with Mike, and I'm trying to learn something, I'm gonna stay in my place, but ultimately I'm gonna take what my father said to me a few years ago, and it was a godsend. And I always talk about it. Mike and Charles are very familiar with this story. But I said to my pops one day, I was like, yo, like every time I turn around, you doing this, you doing that, and you know, how do you keep it all together? And he was like, whoa, I'm not doing everything that you think I'm doing. I'm just doing what I can where I can. And that hit me. You know, me trying to do everything and running, I'm trying to support this one and help this one. And it's physically impossible to do that. It's physically impossible to do that. But what I can do is align with like-minded individuals that think like me with some things. I can debate and argue and everything else with people who don't think like me with others. But ultimately, I have to do something and do the work. But I believe that we have the solutions. I believe, you know, I've always screamed about basically weaponizing our money, but now maybe I need to take it one step further and say we need to weaponize our thinking, all right? Like collectively weaponizing our thinking and just understanding that there is a way to get better in this rugged ass corruption that we see. There's still a way to get better. And I believe, you know, literally it starts with like just being quiet. Like learning, even if you can learn to sit quiet and sit still, something I still haven't mastered. We talked about it 2 years ago. I still am no good at it, but I still try. Now I spend more time listening to music, and that's my way of just bringing me down a little bit. But I'm going to say this last thing, you know. Most people have given up on humanity. I still haven't. I really haven't. You know what I'm saying? Because even when I think it's like, oh, man, there's always something that reminds me that, nah, like, you know what I'm saying? And every morning I wake up, I'm like, well, darn, I got another chance today to at least try, if not to make my situation better, maybe to make the world a little bit better by just trying to help myself, you know, be a little bit better. And the positive thinking, I'm a negative thinker too, okay? So most people say, oh, Dev's all positive. I'm not all positive. there's a lot of things that I have to battle through and I have to think through. And then there's people around me that more or less, if I'm going a little bit to the left or to the right, they quick to call me out. Yo, Deb, you sound crazy right now, or what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, yeah, what the hell am I talking about? I have to think about it. Well, this is what I was trying to explain, but it always keeps me grounded, and I'm always constantly reminding myself just to do what I can where I can. And there's a zillion solutions there's micro solutions for all of these bigger problems. And I've always been a firm believer that anything complex breaks down to something simple. That's just the laws of life. Anything complex is going to break down to something simple. So just take your simplicity, find your simple solutions, do something. How many times Mike and Charles over the years, I was like, just do something. Like, it don't matter what it is, just find something that you can do that's just a little bit to try to make this place a little bit better. Because otherwise we just wither away. And I don't want to wither away.
You want to know something interesting?
Thank you for the solutions, Don. Those some good stuff. I'm listening, bro.
Yeah. When I came back when I finally moved back to the United States in 2000, I came back in December of 2000. SOFA agreement was over in November, so I got back here in 2011. 2012 is when I came back to the U.S. And mind you, when I left, George Bush was the president. I come back, and I'm at close to the tail end of the 8 years of Obama. You know what I'm saying? But one of the things that I noticed was when looking at everything that was happening around me and looking at how much the country had changed, I remember thinking about being in Iraq and working for General David Petraeus and Admiral Mike Mullins. And the thing I realized real quick was, when you're in it, you don't realize what's going on. But when you look back on it, you realize, like, holy smokes, I actually was in meetings, listening to these men, meeting with President Jalil Talabani of Iraq, talking about the Ministry of Interior, the rebuilding of basically a whole country, just sitting there in these VTC meetings and running some of these wild ass missions and stuff like that. And bringing up Al-Rustamiyah, which is the Iraqi version of West Point, and what it takes. And the biggest lesson I learned was it's much easier to bring down a country than it is to actually run one. You know what I'm saying? And be careful with who you put in these seats of power. You know what I'm saying? We learned that the hard way with 45, and we're still dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at these commissions, this January 6th commission, our entire government was infiltrated by these people. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why it was so important for Kavanaugh and all those other justices to be nominated to the Supreme Court. Then it was much more important to put that dude on the Supreme Court than it was to believe that chick when she said, he raped her. You know what I'm saying? Him and his friends. You know what I'm saying? So that tells you right there, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is an agenda, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is that it's basically a rewriting of the rules. You know what I'm saying? There's a preservation of a particular way of life that is going to take place for the next couple of years out of fear. You know what I'm saying? Remember 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 4 years ago. Remember the caravan? The caravan that was coming up from Central America and all these people?
Yeah.
Wall. And we got to build the wall. Remember that? The wall. You know what I'm saying? Remember when my man got inaugurated and when he walked in, what did he do? He sat down at that desk and started writing them executive orders. My man got to work. You know what I'm saying? All of that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it over the years, my man started working on his next campaign when he first came into office. And the only reason why I'm saying these things to you is because I noticed a lot of things that were happening that under ordinary circumstances, people should have got locked up. You know what I'm saying? I've got a few security clearances, so I've had to be in those meetings. You know what I'm saying? And the level, and they tell you, fellas, they don't just tell y'all, they don't just in those security briefings, for your clearances and whatnot, they don't just tell you how they going. They're not just gonna tell you that they're gonna fuck you up. They're gonna tell you how they're gonna fuck you up if you do something wrong with some classified documents or anything like that. So I saw a lot of failures in catching some of this stuff. You know, like, yo, Jared Kushner should have never gotten near his father-in-law, knowing all the shit that you find out about him later on. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't even eligible for security clearance. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are all things that I saw a breakdown in that made me realize, like, yo, they are really, really taking over for real. And you can imagine how many of them are in the United States military. You see how the Secret Service is. Like, this commission, they stack the deck for themselves. Now, for us, we have to respond in a way that shields us, or not so much shields us, but minimizes some of the collateral damage from our inability to enact change in a meaningful way. We got to reactivate people. We have to create economic opportunities, all those things. You know what I'm saying? These are all things that take place on a macro, micro, and a mesoeconomic level. You know what I'm saying? Mesoeconomics is the creation of micro and macro that allows the institutions for micro and macro to happen. All of that is now. That's what's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? So what's required of us at this time period, at this time in time, is that we have to think 4 or 5 generations down the road. And that's very hard to get people to do when you live in an instant gratification type of society, such as the one we live in. You know what I'm saying? And we all just out here saying, you just said it yourself, these kids got money to burn. You know, a long time ago, not too long ago, gentrification meant, you know what I'm saying, white folks, you know, coming in and moving black people out of their neighborhoods and stuff like that. Around here, you know what I'm saying, you know what gentrification means? Gentrification means white, black, brown, it's educated people, people with advanced degrees who want to live close to their jobs, coming in and taking over. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what's happening. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us Gen X folks and stuff like that, we got money now. You know what I'm saying? But we're not talking to each other. You know what I'm saying? We're not, you know, everybody doing their thing, you know. So it's just my take, man. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, man.
Dropping the jewels, you know.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Donna Jackson, for all the links and stuff too. I see him because she on it. You know what I'm saying? The Black Farmers Association. You know what I'm saying? We got to control land. We got a whole lot of stuff that we got to do. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know Donna was watching, but she's an incredible resource as far as information and just knowing what's going on. And she's actually up there with you all. You know, so she's up. She's in the New York area.
Okay.
You know, so you know she's an incredible. I mean, and she's brilliant. So I didn't even know she was watching. That's why I was like, oh shoot. So the links go to okay.
Yeah, no, that's dope. I'm looking at that. I was like, who even knew there was a Black Farmers organization?
Oh no, they huge.
Man.
They huge. They huge, man. But they keep getting the messed up end of the stick. That's what we were talking about last week. They keep getting brought out, man. You know, because a lot of the stuff that's been given to everybody now was stuff they was fighting for 30 years ago, just because of the inequities over the last 80 to 100 years to their organizations.
Yep.
So, I mean, some of the stuff that she posted, I'm definitely want to check out. But the Black farmers in particular, they need all the grassroots help humanly possible. So, you know, if you all have what's the name of the damn things going on? The farmers markets and stuff like that. You know, if you guys buy stuff from Harris Teeter and stuff like that, if you can go to the farmers markets.
Wow.
You know?
That name I ain't heard in a long time. Wow.
We got North Carolina. We see it every day.
I know, right? I'm just, you know, like it's
Harris Teeter. What y'all got? ShopRite or something up there?
Yeah, you know.
ShopRite is still real? They still got ShopRite?
Yeah, ShopRite and Acme. Yeah.
Acme, Lord.
Yeah.
Wait, you got Acme's in New York?
Huh?
They got Acme's up there in New York?
Nah, man.
Acme's, I don't think so in New York.
Oh.
It's still C-Town and what else they got up there? Oh, I can't remember. A lot of whole.
They got ShopRite, Stop and Shop, all these.
Stop and Shop, all these. Y'all got all these?
Yeah, we got all these.
Yeah.
What?
They scattered around, but
Get out of here.
Basically, you're gonna see ShopRite and Stop and Shop.
Matter of fact, we got an Aldi's, a Lidl.
Yeah, we got those. We got
Whole Foods. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, and Acme. Because remember, I'm on the west coast of New Jersey.
Right.
So like I'm literally a 30-second drive to Pennsylvania.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In Trenton. So, it's yeah, we get all of that. You know what I'm saying? I love where I live at because I get New York and Philadelphia TV and radio.
Yeah, they wilding out in Philly, man.
Yes.
Yeah. It's look, fellas, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of exchange of trauma going on around here. As a matter of fact, the new thing too now is not the new thing, but the big thing, not new but big, is human trafficking. You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason, there's a lot of us getting involved in that shit too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? We're in such dire straits that now we're trafficking other people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how bad it's getting. Plus you got the little girls being snatched up off the streets and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a cannabis activist in Florida who just came up missing a couple of days ago. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, what are you saying about us trafficking in other humans? What do you mean by the us humans, or you mean black folks?
Black folks. Yeah, there's black folks who are getting involved in human trafficking now.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, I told you I one time, I mean, and it was crazy because it was like some black dudes and I think a couple of white girls. Yo, they kidnapped a girl from the Texas Rangers baseball game. She was there with her father, went to the bathroom, and luckily though they found her, man. Yo, she was in a hotel. Yo, they found her like in a hotel in Oklahoma, and they was able to arrest the people. But I was like, damn, man, I can't even imagine my daughter sitting next to me at like Yankee Stadium, and she like, yo, I'm going to the bathroom, and they find her like in Kentucky in a hotel room.
Crazy stuff.
That's the stuff they don't tell you that scares the shit out of you when you become a parent. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that real scary stuff. That's the worst nightmare.
Yo, a situation like that, you got some sick predator. Like which of the two scenarios is going down? You got somebody who is heading to a game, like saying like this is the opportunity to just find somebody who just steps aside from a whole group of people, or do you have somebody's like same sick twisted person who was just there and sees a moment and capitalizes on it and just kidnaps somebody? I don't even know if it makes a difference, but I'm trying to think of like, yo, how does that even happen? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think they probably went to the game to do that, because I can't see. I mean, like, I can't see that just, like maybe spontaneously robbing or raping somebody. Like, you was just at the game and opportunity and whatever demonic thought that makes you even want to do some crazy shit like that kicked in. But to go kidnap somebody, man, like that's more like planned out, man. Like they went hunting for the perfect victim at the perfect time. You know what I'm saying?
They stole a whole person.
Yeah.
Yo,
that shit is crazy.
You know what's the thing about that? Because I've driven around at certain times, and sometimes like on some random day, you might pass by somebody, and there'll be somebody who's like, yo, like say it's a female, way too young, and little like is that too late at night, and that person's way too young, and I look and be like, yo, like they don't need to be walking by themselves in this direction all by themselves, because this is somebody who got that frame of mind will be like, yo, this is an opportunity to do, you know what I'm saying? And I've seen that a number of times and be like, yo, like you almost want to tell somebody like, yo, you shouldn't be, like, you know what I mean? And it ain't gotta be like in some like crazy rough part of town or something. Yo, you can just see the situation sometimes, be like, yo, if you was my like
opportunity.
Yeah, like you can just see it. It's like, yo, it don't look safe for you. Like you wouldn't have somebody in your family, you know, I've seen that like a number of times before.
Yeah. Yo, I drove one time from I went to Alabama to Mississippi. I was driving down in those areas. Yo, I was on an interstate, kid, for easily over an hour, maybe 2 hours. I ain't even passed another car. Yo, it was pitch black out there, and I remember stopping to use the bathroom in the woods right there. I wasn't worried about somebody coming out the woods. I was worried about like animals. So I ain't even pissed on the side of the woods. Yo, it was a 2-lane highway. It was an interstate. Yo, I walked right in the middle of the interstate and just pissed right in the middle of the interstate because no cars was coming. And I didn't want to be on the side of the thing. And I literally thought to myself,
yeah,
I was like, fuck that.
Where the story's going, man. I thought you
I didn't want to be on the side. I didn't want to be on the side of the road because I don't know what type of fucking animals are in the wood. You know,
I mean, I can understand, you know. I
probably I literally walked. I walked into the, just bugged out, like, because of like, yo, damn, it ain't no cars out there. I'm literally pissing on the middle of the interstate.
On the yellow line, like.
Yo, word, like literally on the interstate. I ain't seen no car for easily about an hour, maybe even 2 hours. And to what you was saying, like, what you was just saying, Mike, I thought that to myself. I was like, yo, this is how them girls driving home from college and this shit, they end up missing.
Now
and nobody find them. Yo, if somebody had stopped right there and I would have pulled up and I wanted to like harm them, there was nothing. It wasn't even like lamps, like lights to light the parkway up. It was pitch blackness, and I was like, you could just easily take somebody, and like nobody witnessed what just happened.
Now let me jump in because this is a good segue, Devron. You know what I'm saying? And particularly when it comes to what if it was like just as common as just as well known as it is that it's dangerous for someone such as the women you've seen walking down the streets and everything like that. What if it was a common thing to also assume she's probably carrying a gun? Like that, you see what I'm saying? Like here's the thing, like you hear.
So you're saying that in the sense of would it have made a difference with the person had stopped to attempt to harm her or kidnap her?
Right. You see what I'm saying? Because like here's the thing, you're talking about, we talked about gun control and everything like that, and we kind of brought that up a bit, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, okay, I think that it's too late for gun control because there's so many guns out there already.
Yeah.
It's literally that many. It's so many guns that's in circulation right now. It's too late to have gun control.
Yeah, I actually had that conversation with somebody yesterday.
You know what I'm saying? You look at Switzerland, you look at Japan, you know what I'm saying? The last person to get killed by a firearm used to be the president. That happened like a week ago?
Yeah, like
a week ago. Yeah. First gun and like, and that's not to say that they don't have guns in Japan, you know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that robbers, or people who are involved in organized crime don't have guns or what have you. It's just that it ain't that many guns. You know what I'm saying? They're not manufacturing them like that. They're not importing them like that. You know what I'm saying? We are. You know what I'm saying? Like if you think about it, like, come on, y'all, look at Chicago. You just said something. You just like Chicago. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Chicago's like you see all the shootings and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just the rednecks either. You know what I'm saying? It's us too. I mean, it's a lot of guns out there. A lot.
Yeah. They estimated that there's more than 400 million guns circulating in America. That's almost 65 million more than there are people in America.
I was about to say, yeah, that's like you give a gun to every person in America.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
America probably is about a 340 million
Right.
people. So you got about 4, and that's estimate because God knows how many untraceable or unknown in these ghost guns that they don't know where these things are at.
Yeah, now
you
they
know,
print on 3D printers and shit now.
Yeah.
Yup. So again, I'm just like, like, especially.
So what do you think is a solution then? What do you think is a solution to limit the, just like, people say it doesn't matter, they're going to get the guns anyway, right? That's the same thing we could say about drugs. That's basically the same thing we could say about anything. So my thing is, like, what do you think is a solution that you're not taking away everyone's guns as everyone swears that somebody's coming to get, like, knock on their door and make them surrender all their weapons or something? But what do you think is a solution or at least a course of action to attempt to limit the amount of gun violence that's going on in America?
Truth be told, I think you should, because remember, the 4 of us are the black guys in the movie. Okay, we got to try to figure out how to survive. So my answer is as the black guy in the movie. You know what I'm saying? And as the black guy in the movie, if I want to survive this, I need to have one of my own, at least one. You know what I'm saying? Like it's. I think that having a firearm in these United States for people like us is just as much as a survival tool as having a Kevlar, a K-pod, everything to, digging tools, everything you would need. You need that you should all have that.
Yeah, but okay, so now, but realistically, so if you gave every black person in America a gun, right? What do you think is the probability of that gun is going to be used in a crime against another black person or as a means of actual survival?
Wait, can I jump in even before you answer that though? My first impression is that to Leo's point that he even made before, gun possession it's not, you don't even calculate it that far. It winds up being like, from what I'm hearing, it winds up being a threat of like mutual deterrence, right? If you're in a town or an area that it's given that everybody got a gun, why am I gonna want to rob you? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going up because everybody always looking for prey or something like that. Easy target, right? So that's why he mentioned the girl walking. Like, all right, what if the last thing I saw in the news was a girl walking by herself, attempted rape, and she shot the dude in the head. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the last thing in my memory.
Yeah, but think about this perspective though. Think about the actual opposite thinking. Now, of course, when you're looking at the prey, the lonely girl walking down the street, right?
Yeah, I see in the background. I was like, this way coming.
Yeah. Nah. I'm good. I got him. Nah.
I was about to say, yo.
Nah. I'm good. Yo, listen. Yo,
was on it.
Yeah, they carjacking people in the New York City, man. So you gotta watch these side views and rear views. But yo, to your point, right? When you talking about, okay, I'll be less likely to rob or to kidnap the girl because I think she has a gun, right? But now I'm gonna give a different scenario, which seems to be more of what I see, say, in New York City and like urban areas, and especially with us, like, yo, you know what? I got my gun. So what I'm basically gonna do is I'm gonna shoot him before he has an opportunity to use his gun, because it's like I'm in a society where I feel like it's not a deterrent, just like I don't think the death penalty is a deterrent to crime. I don't think the thought of other people having gun is a deterrent, because we already just basically acknowledge that there's more guns in circulation than people. So I assume everybody in New York City, these young dudes I run across when I go into the bodega on Broadway, I assume everybody is armed. So if I'm armed, I think that it actually creates a more dangerous situation because I'm going to be probably more ready to shoot and fire because I think you're going to do that to me.
Yeah, but being ready is not a bad thing.
No, and I'm not saying it is, but what I'm saying is I think the opposite. I don't think it lowers the violence. I think it makes it more.
Let me say this. How about we expand the metric? You know what I'm saying? And we go beyond looking at how many more murders we be dealing with. And let's look at how many, is there an uptick or a downtick in other crimes? You see what I'm saying? Is there a downtick in rapes? Is there a downtick in kidnaps? Is there a downtick in home invasions? You know what I'm saying? Is there a downtick in simple assault? You know what I'm saying?
Like take crime as a whole instead of just one element of crime.
Yes. You know what I'm saying?
But okay, so now that like you said with that, so right, I read where they did this study, and this was right before Congress snatched the funding to study like the effect. They started, the CDC started studying gun violence as a like health problem in America, right? And the New England Medical Journal actually wrote an article. This is back like you talking about in the 90s, the crack epidemic, gun violence was high. And they looked at gun ownership in the home, and they determined, and you can always debate these reports and everything, that the average gun, if it was used basically in some type of homicide, assault, or act of violence against a person within the home, that the main use of it was never like to stop the burglar, to stop the home invasion. It was basically used to like kill your spouse or kill somebody in the house. That's what they found, that most guns in the house, if they were used, was used in that scenario. And when these reports was coming out in the mid 90s, and the CDC was, and you have medical journals writing about gun violence as a health crisis in America and this and that, Congress, they literally snatched the funding from it, and they basically wrote a law where it was ambiguous, but it basically was denying federal funds to be used on any type of research that studied or advocated for gun control in America. And the NRA was, back then, they were very powerful. They was on it hard. They didn't even want gun violence even like advocated or studied in America, and they stopped it. And they actually wrote a bill about it. It was like 1996 or sometime, like the omnibus. I can't remember the name of the thing. And it was, and that lasted for about 25 years before they allowed like studies on this. So, it's like there's a whole gap, especially at a very violent time in America, where this whole study on gun control and gun violence and its effects on the society and everything is missing. Like they didn't even want to hear about it. They didn't even want to deal with what it might produce as from studying or researching this. So I don't know.
That's gonna be
what do you think?
We got the just as a note though. We got the timer up as a 10-minute closeout because I know we over time and just as that quick note. I know that went a few minutes ago, so I think we probably got a few minutes left. But one quick comment on that. That's an interesting. I'll say it's an awkward kind of stat, I think, right? Because when you first mentioned that, what made me think of is like, okay, so the stat isn't majority of all guns are I gotta say shootings from guns owned. It's not shootings from guns owned. It's like when a gun is used in a crime, it's used in a violent crime, not in like self-defense or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So, or you said would you say like a home?
No, that's not what they said. They
Say,
not about overall crime. They would
no
they
gun
in the house that in houses in households that had guns. A lot of people say I have a gun in my house for protection, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's something wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, of those households that, of however many millions of households that I have a gun for protection in the house, that in cases in which the gun was used in the home, I'm not talking about out in the street with robberies and murders. Yeah, that gun was not used to stop the person from or actually protect the home. It was actually used.
That's not a surprising. That's not a surprising stat though, right? Because think of what we already know. We know for years, right? They say like when there's crimes, right? Like what are most crimes or crimes that occur, like crimes of passion and crimes of like something in the moment. And if there's a gun present, it's going to use. So if those are most crimes, then it's going to be used in that situation. Whereas you have millions of people who have guns for self-protection, majority of which are never going to use it. You know what I mean? So I mean that doesn't surprise me, I guess, as a stat at all. So we had super extra pass time wind down time. I'm gonna segue to the final.
Yeah. We're gonna have to tackle this gun thing more in a show, and like we keep the last 2 weeks we kind of got like last week we kind of went off onto the weed and we got caught up in that. This week we kind of like went into the finances and everything, and like we keep trying to tag the gun in at the very last minute and everything, so we just gonna have to really stick to a show on guns then.
Absolutely, I'll do you guys a solid. You know what I'm saying? I'll ask my friend Tanjanika Daniels. She actually is a part owner of a gun range in Atlanta, down in Georgia, and Marine Corps veteran and weapons expert. And I can ask her to to tap in on one of the podcasts, or when you guys do this again. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you want me
that'll be good. That'll be
good. Yeah, just look up.
I would like that.
Yeah, look up her Instagram is Tactical Tangerine.
Yeah,
Tactical Tangerine.
Tactical Tangerine. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
she's one of my she's one of my favorite people. You know what I'm saying. Very, very knowledgeable. A wealth of knowledge in these areas, and can actually answer a lot of these questions and give you guys some expert insight. Again, look her up on Instagram. It's Tactical Tangerine. And you'll see she does all kinds of demonstrations with all different types of weapons, with handguns and assault rifles.
Yeah, I would like because that's like a question I always pose to legal gun owners, like, what role do you think legal gun owners, like, first of all, do you think America has a gun problem? You know what I'm saying? And a problem with that. So then if you do, like I had asked you earlier, what do you think is like, what is part of the solution? I'm not saying the solution. What is part of the solution? And then as a legal gun owner, what level of, even if you want to call it compromise, when they talk about the Second Amendment or whatever, like, what, as a legal gun owner, what do you think your role should be in like trying to solve whatever, and other than that, the guns kill people don't kill, and then the correlation to cars and everything. I mean, like, to me that gets into foolishness, because the reality is there are a bunch of laws that pertain to you, even though you have never personally violated that law, so like sometimes that's what, when I talk to people with the guns and stuff, it gets off like into that. And I'm like, but the drunken driving laws of New York State apply to me, even though I've never been arrested or stopped and blue positive in the breathalyzer. So it's more than just like, or you the actual breaker of that specific law. You know what I'm saying? And it gets a little like thing, man. So I just want to see how that plays out.
All right.
But
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we definitely got to wind this down. So, good talk. We definitely passed past our time.
This is like normal, man. We always end around 11. I don't know why we saying that we don't.
No. We had 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Man, listen, you go back on all of these things, they always end around 11.
So when we started at 8:30,
you got the finals, right?
Not just
let him go and handle some business. I guess Leo.
We lost Leo something. So, all right, man. We done hit on multiple topics and not enough. We did what we did with the gun topic, and I guess it's too.
We can just go on and set the time and the topic and go for it.
Well, and especially next week, if you have like a person who, you know.
I mean, Donna made some good points. He made some good points also. And maybe we can get people who are for and against it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. It's like it's like that abortion thing. It's just hotly contested, man. Coming from different, a lot of people got, some very strong feelings on both sides of the aisle, man. That's why my thing is, where's the compromise? Like what do they think? Not what do I think, or like what the legal gun owners think should be.
Let's make it happen.
On that note, black people.
Se la pasan la calles, ¿me entiende?
So,
time to bounce it out, y'all.
Put a bow on it.
Peace.